Bonjour everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel Françoise the Guiding Star. If you follow me on Facebook, Instagram and TikTok, please continue to like and click the thumbs up button. I also really appreciate your comments which I respond to. And if you would like a personal reading with me, please send me your birth details on info@francoisemonroe360art.au, and from there, I'm surely we will find the perfect time to meet online or in person. And as we are in the Christmas season, I offer you a 50% discount for 1 hour reading online of your natal chart until the end of the year. So thank you for joining me today, and we are going to talk about the last full moon of the year, the full supermoon very close to Earth in Gemini on the 5th of December 2025, 9:14 a.m. Brisbane time, Australia, and she's sitting at 13 degrees 3 minutes of Gemini. December is a month when your soul is searching. It is time to allow yourself to move forward. It is certain that 2026 will be a very different year than 2025. And according to numerology, we are leaving a year 9 to enter a year 1. And in Chinese astrology, we are leaving the year of the wood snake to enter the year of the fire horse on February 17. In 2026, the slow-moving planets Saturn, Uranus, Neptune will no longer be moving from one sign to another. They are all well settled in their new signs, therefore in their new frequencies. So 2026 will be a calmer year in terms of energy, more stable. In 2025, you made some big decisions regarding what you want to keep and what you want to let go of in your body, your environment, your reality, your life. This supermoon in Gemini wants you to understand that you are also not meant to go back to anything that has ended for you. You are still in the chrysalids of change, in a powerful state of renewal and becoming, a change that does not happen overnight. You are in a place where you must trust the unknown, be open to it. December is a month for releasing constraints, letting go of attachments, practicing forgiveness and embracing infinite possibilities. With the moon in the sign of duality, Gemini, it feels like we are living between two worlds, and it is a time for choices. You are choosing your next level of manifestation. So enjoy this time of embracing your sacred space. And as we are in the fiery Sagittarius season, you are feeling the need to get moving, and you can trust that fire that you are feeling internally, that makes you feeling newly motivated. A new level of existence, new passions and inspirations are rising. On the shadow side of this energy, you could feel restless. You don't want to sit still. This supermoon in Gemini marks the midpoint of the lunar cycle, which began with the new moon in Scorpion on November 20th. She shines a spotlight on your way of thinking, speaking, communicating, and processing information, but also on how you move, you breathe, and how you listen. She sits opposite the sun in Sagittarius. So on the Gemini side, we have facts, data, concrete exchanges, movement. And on the Sagittarius side, we have beliefs, grand ideas, major journeys and narratives that gives meaning to it all. And this full supermoon highlights your contradictions. She reveals your concepts which are no longer aligned with the reality of your actions or your way of thinking. In Gemini, we learn, we gather information, sometimes endlessly. In Sagittarius, we seek to understand why all this matters. which direction to follow, what inner truth guides us. It is a time when the mind is in a full effervescence, curious, stimulated, but sometimes scattered, where a deeper voice asks you among all these ideas what truly resonates with you, what makes sense. This supermoon is inviting you to build bridges between your thoughts and your intuition. The sun represents your consciousness, your will, what you seek to illuminate. And in Sagittarius, he seeks direction, inner coherence, a broader truth. The moon, on the other hand, reflects your emotion, your more intimate, sometimes unconscious needs. And in Gemini, your emotions can be thought about, analyzed, sometimes intellectualized. This can help you put words to what you are experiencing, but it can also distance you from your authentic feelings if the mind races. In the opposition Sun-Moon, there is tension, but also a possibility for dialogue. It is a moment when you see more clearly what dwells within you. The axis Gemini-Sagittarius speaks of a path toward a complementarity, learning to translate your emotion into words without losing depth, exploring without scattering your energies, transmitting without forgetting why it matters. So at this full supermoon, the sun is in Sagittarius, but we also find here Mars, Venus, and the black moon Lilith. So there is a lot of intensity in the air, lots of ideas and passion. Sun, Mars, Venus, Lilith in Sagittarius reinforce the need for coherence and inner commitment, and questions your deepest convictions and how to give substance to what you truly believe. The opposition of the Gemini supermoon to Sun, Mars, Venus, and Lilith in Sagittarius shows a dynamic between Gemini, the sign of dialogue, which wants to find the right words to soothe tensions, while Sagittarius, the sign of meaning, wants to live the truth, even if it shakes things up for everyone. So be careful, because during this full moon timeline, conversations can be explosive. And to understand more about the dynamics of this moon in Gemini, we must look at her ruler, Mercury, located in Scorpion, having just emerged from his retrograde phase on November 29, as if the profound reflection of recent weeks could finally circulate, be translated, be expressed. Mercury in Scorpion is like aiming to pierce masks. He is a detective of the soul, delving into the unspoken, and under his influence, discussions can be deeper, sometimes disturbing, and surely more intense. So really beware of arguments that might arise around this time. These won't be words that are forgotten the next day, but that can remain ingrained for a very long time. In fact, the profound meaning of this full moon is to rediscover simplicity. So look in your birth chart in which houses the Gemini-Sagittarius axis is located to see in which areas of your life this full supermoon takes place and impacts you. These areas want simplicity. There was a lot of introspective work done during September, October and November. And now at the beginning of December, this full supermoon invites you to bring clarity to the facts that you found deep within yourself. And also to not stay in the abyss. Because after descending into the underworld, we eventually come back up. There is this saying, he who gazes too long into the abyss will eventually forget the light. I don't know who says that, but perhaps you can tell me. At this supermoon, you are invited to open the windows and let in the fresh air, the fresh air of reconciling ideas, and it is welcome after these past weeks of introspection and intensity. This amazing full moon in Gemini offers you an invisible ladder to climb back to the surface. You have done your introspection. Now you need to move forward with that work so that what you have done serves some purpose for you. So what have you learned from what you have been digging during these past few weeks? This full moon teaches you to smile again after the intensity. In fact, this full moon truly represents fire and air no longer clashes. They are dancing together. And peace with your mind, calm in your head, is not the absence of storms. It is self-mastery in the midst of the storm. This super moon in Gemini stirs up your ideas and therefore your emotions. But you must not get lost in overly deep thoughts unless you know how to easily recover. And Mercury in Scorpion is part of a beautiful grand water trine with Jupiter in Cancer and Saturn in Pisces. Saturn has been direct since November 28, almost simultaneously with Mercury, who it was on the 29th. This simultaneous return to direct motion of Mercury and Saturn, both in a beautiful trine conversation, is highly symbolic of a release. It is like a gentle, slow and gradual recirculation of emotions, as if an inner space were opening up to welcome what you usually flee, which is vulnerability, sensitivity, and the time necessary for inner maturation. Jupiter in Cancer protects and amplifies. Saturn in Pisces structures subtle emotions and invites you to experience them with greater responsibility. Together, they encourage you to give meaning to your feelings without judging or running away from them. So this Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn, water grand trine invites you to speak to yourself differently, to think differently too. It requires a bit of introspection, thinking, reflecting, letting ideas mature. It is a precious moment to confide in yourself, to write your journal, to bring order to your thoughts through tenderness. Mercury represents reason, reflection, and at this full moon, you can reflect more deeply on a project, a plan that you have in mind, and you will be able to make good judgment about what to do and make excellent decisions. At the same time, Mercury in Scorpion is in opposition to Uranus in Taurus, and this opposition disturbs the peace. And then truth bursts forth like lightnings. There are many unforeseen events. It is a time that makes you shift your thinking, can trigger sudden thoughts, epiphanies, realizations, bring unexpected occurrences in your travels, your relationships, your interactions. Sudden unforeseen events that can come up that ask you to tune into your intuition in order to navigate whatever change is being asked for. So during this lunation, expect sudden changes in your way of communicating. Be aware that there is a fed-up energy that makes you want to blurt out truth to people. And this full moon on the Gemini-Sagittarius axis can create a strong degree of impatience as well. So really around this full moon, we all need to be careful about what we said and the way we say it. Because the Mercury-Uranus opposition represents the tension between the need to control your speech and the necessity of being truthful. This tension disturbs mental habits, but it can also lead to verbal outbursts and clashes that are far too sharp. But something really remarkable to look at is that the full moon's axis at 13 degrees of Gemini Sagittarius is in an exact square to the lunar node axis at 13 degrees of Pisces and Virgo. So all the mutable signs are highlighted here. This creates a grand mutable square or a cross, a pattern of transformation and evolution. These lunar nodes govern our destiny, represent our past and our future. And with the nodes, this is a powerful time of destiny where fate can show up. This grand cross is like a crossroad for you to decide and choose what to do. It is a signal for you to claim the present, to release the past, to say goodbye to what is no longer working and what needs to be understood about that, in order for you to move forward. This configuration between the mutable signs speaks to you of adaptation, inner transition, of the passage from one state of consciousness to another, and of spiritual growth. Mutable signs are about change. Virgo governs health and healing, so the South Node in Virgo means that you may need to look at some habits, some routines in your daily life, with family, colleagues you work with your health, with your body-mind-spirit connection. And you are invited to let go of directions that you have been taking and that are to your detriment. So, are you being meticulous about these matters? And the North Node in Pisces is very much about embracing visionary opportunities and embracing the end of a big cycle of life on both personal and collective levels. The ancient traditional ruler of Pisces is Jupiter, and Neptune is the modern ruler. Jupiter and Neptune talk about having a visionary perspective and breaking through boundaries. So the North Node in Pisces is asking you to look at your life in this way, to trust your intuition, to be like a leaf floating on water, trusting where the flow is leading you. This full moon in Gemini, sign of duality, asks you to look at both sides of a situation and to look at the big vision brought by the sun in Sagittarius. By the way, Jupiter is ruling the Sagittarius sun and the Pisces North Node as well. And he asks you to let go of small-mindedness, to let go of looking at each tree of the forest and look at the full forest landscape. So it is a time to let go of the beliefs that have kept you in a box. And this Grand Cross is an invitation to break out of that box. It can bring opportunity for growth and transformation, but it can also present challenges and obstacles. It is therefore important for you to remain flexible and adapt to changes while staying connected to your values and goals. It is about to organize without becoming rigid, to explore without getting lost, to believe without being blinded. We are at the end of the year 2025, a number 9 years at the end of the numerology scale. So it is all about ending. And this Grand Cross gives you the ability to stay in balance. Because we are in a period of change where energies are in motion and where it is necessary to adapt and find a balance between flexibility and stability. On this Grand Cross, the Moon, Sun, North Node and South Node, they are all on 13 degrees of their sign. So the number 13 is activated strongly during this full supermoon. And here the 13 vibration also emphasizes the change, release and transformation. In numerology, 13 has always been feared as a death number. Indeed, it does represent death, but here, death is merely change, and change is simultaneously birth and death. So in this lunation, you can expect changes that will bring an end to conditions in your life that no longer serve a useful purpose in your evolutionary scheme. One of the key words corresponding to the number 13 is the mass of the uterus. So if you go with a change, with new ideas, new people, new conditions, new plan, this opens the birth channel for new opportunities, a rebirth of the consciousness into higher planes. We are collectively in a reconstruction period, which can bring great happiness if you make the right decisions. Release from the past is followed by a renewal which brings changes that promote growth. This is a time to depart, to travel, and to grow. Let be gone, be gone. The ruler of this Gemini supermoon, Mercury in Scorpion, is ruled by Mars. And there is a square conversation between Saturn, Neptune in Pisces and Mars in Sagittarius. That adds tension and brings many challenges. It is as if the fiery horses of Mars in Sagittarius suddenly crashes into a wall of fog. Desire to move forward sometimes encounters a limit. It is not a blockage, but rather a reformulation, moving forward, yes, but with maturity and a clear intention. Mars in Sagittarius is like a catalyst, and here is in a hurry. So during this period, expect to have your impulses become muddled, to feel fatigue and frustration, doubts and confusion, which can hold back your momentum and bring a lack of meaning and clarity as well. The Mars-Saturn-Neptune square tells you not to rush into anything. This last full moon of the year asks you to slow down a bit, to take things easy, to slow down your overly ambitious projects and to carefully consider what you are doing. It is like a test of spiritual maturity. And you might feel tired at the end of this year. There has been too much effort, too much expectation. And this full supermoon simply asks you to follow your breath, to adapt to new movements, to change your mind. And that requires a lot of courage to change your mind rather than clinging to it. So accept that yesterday's truth can become tomorrow's untruth. So just during the timeline of this Gemini supermoon, click on the button pause. You are invited for a mental pause to sort out what truly belongs to you, and what is not said clearly will fade away anyway. So look at where you are complicating things in your life, where you are stressing yourself out, often over nothing, over a subject or a person that exhausts you, that drains your energy, because now is a time to move towards much more simplicity. At this full supermoon, Venus is conjunct Lilith in Sagittarius. In this conjunction, Lilith speaks in Venus here. So what is she whispering? It is about what is consuming you. And the lucid fire of Sagittarius illuminates areas of emotional dependencies regarding people, food, material, and financial matters. And Lilith speaks of fantasized dependencies, something you fantasize about, a financial situation, a romantic relationship, something that disconnects you from reality and prevents you from moving forward. On the other hand, Venus is in a good conversation, a sextile with Pluto in Aquarius, which evokes a deeper relational dimension. It is the idea that your connections, your relationships, or even your creativity can be places of transformation, not by forcing, but by choosing what makes you more alive, more aligned. Venus sextile Pluto invites you to learn to love yourself differently, to connect but without chaining yourself, to live passionately without losing yourself in it. That is the message of this full moon. To see things without getting burned. To understand without judging, especially without judging yourself. So, to navigate this Gemini full moon, cultivate flexibility and adaptability, develop communication and listening skills, connect with your intuition and spirituality, and let go of limiting thoughts pattern. This Gemini full supermoon is an invitation to listen to the voice of your spirit self. You can use this atmosphere to observe how you express yourself, how you understand others, and especially how you consciously choose your own direction. It is a time not just to accumulate ideas or conversations, but to give them direction. You are invited to make some tremendous shifts that come from decisions that are just born out of your trust in yourself, trust in the good guidance of the universe. This is a busy supermoon indeed, telling you that there's so much going on in your life as you prepare yourself for 2026. So voila, I stop sharing now. Thank you for listening. May we all be blessed with love and light.